If it's your first time getting ready to do a video, you do not need to freak out. I want to go over 7 things that I do before I'm getting ready to do any video, that even after probably 1,000 or more videos, it is still helpful tips for me to do. So the first thing that you want to make sure you're doing is make sure you charge everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. From your smartphone, make sure your computer's fully charged. Make sure if you're using audio wireless recording setups, that those are charged. So like I'm using the Rode Wireless Go 2 in this setup, and these are charged up before I'm ever hitting the record button. And especially your camera batteries and your spare batteries too. And I'm not saying just like if it's at 80%, then that's good enough. I mean all the way to 100. Now, the reason why this matters is because the last thing that you want to do is sit down, take longer than you think that you need to record or do something, or maybe you have to stop and come back to it. And now you're at 10, 15, or 20%, and you're starting to look at things sideways or look over to the screen constantly. That's super distracting. So make sure that that just lowers your stress level a little bit, knowing you have plenty of battery life to do everything that you need to do while you're recording content. Tip number 2 is make sure you're checking your audio levels before you press record. If you're not doing this, you run the chance of your audio levels peaking and they're way too loud or they're way too soft. Once you get your audio levels that are peaking, it makes it very hard for you to try to recover that. And honestly, it's not recoverable, which means either you're going to publish that video with the audio sounding a mess, or you're going to have a bunch of noise in your shot. Because here's the thing, when you have audio that's too low and you're just dragging the gain all the way up or the volume level, yes, it makes the volume louder, but at the same time, you're increasing the noise floor. So if you ever hear that shh kind of an audio in a track, and you're increasing that, well, yes, the volume increases, but so does that noise. We did a video that walked through how to remove the noise in the background, but the goal is to never record it to begin with. Pro tip here, if you are getting ready to test your audio, don't just say testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. That does nothing for you. You need to make sure that the loudest that you're gonna get and the softest that you're going to talk, make sure that your audio is gonna fit within that range. If you're somebody that spontaneously or even nervously laughs or something like that, or maybe you crack jokes in the middle of you talking, that's fine. But if you don't test for that audio, when you actually laugh, that audio will peak, it'll turn yellow and orange in the file, and it just looks a mess. So don't do the testing 1, 2, 3. Actually have something to read or to say, and that way you can test it. Something I like to do is just say, today I'm going to be telling you about the weather, and I think that it sucks and it's too cold outside and we actually need to be into spring because that's the best time of the year. Just in something that simple and how my voice inflections move throughout just a normal statement, that's more true to a true audio test versus like a testing 1, 2, 3. So if you laugh, have a high pitch or a lower pitch voice, make sure that you're testing for your actual voice. And if you have somebody else that's going to be on the videos with you, test for their highest pitch or lowest pitch voice, especially for laughter. Tip number 3, check your white balance. Oh my gosh, this is the #1 way for your videos to look weird for no reason. This is a fixable issue in the camera. So don't wait and say, well, I can just fix it in post. That's the worst statement that you can say when you're new to all of this stuff, especially if you are not a professional editor, not like you do it for a thing, but you're really good at editing. Even then, things that can be fixed in camera, let's just get it right the first time. Now, your white balance is the difference of you actually looking normal or you being too warm and orange looking or too soft and just like blue and like cool looking. You don't want either extremes. The way that you fix this is just by having a quick $7 little gray card. It's white on one side, gray on the other. Technically, this is for exposure, but you can use this for white balance. The thing is, you want to hold it to where you're going to be. So me sitting here, and then take a picture of it. That way your camera reads that information and it adjusts and says, hey, these are all the lights that we can sense. This is going to be the most accurate representation for skin tones, the clothes that you wear, and just stuff like that. When you see videos that look a little weird, most of the time it's either the color grading or it's the white balance. Most of the time it's the white balance, especially when you're new. These run for about $7 on Amazon, and I've had mine now for about 5 or so years. Hasn't ripped, haven't messed up or anything. I'll put a link to this one down in the description, but you cannot go wrong having this. And it doesn't stay this big. You twist it, it collapses on itself. Grab the little bag, and $7, best $7 you will spend. Tip number 4. Format your memory card. Now, when you hear that word format, that means to delete. So Don't do this after you just recorded, you haven't transferred those files. It's a great way to delete what you just recorded. Formatting your memory card, it's two reasons why you want to do this. The first reason is your camera has folders and files and a structure of how they save photos and how they save videos, especially if you're going from camera model to camera model or camera brand to camera brand. So you don't want to just take one card from one camera and pop it in another one. It's fine if, like, let's say they're all Canons or they're all Sonys or Fujis, then that could be fine if it's like the same family of cameras. But when you put it from one card into another camera, that can tend to mess stuff up. And when you start to get to a point where you're recording enough content that it hurts when you lose that content, you will value formatting your memory cards. The other thing is that formatting your cards is, like, you'll see this option in your computers. This is a no-no. Do not format your memory cards in your computers. Yeah, you could probably delete or get rid of those files off of the memory card while it's in the computer, but even then, it's not worth doing. I literally put my card into my camera before any new recording session, and I will get rid of that footage. So once you sit down to record, let's say you're batch recording a couple videos, that's fine. You don't need to like dump the video as soon as you're done with it. But when you're done with like a session of recording, then transfer those files, whether it's to Dropbox or an SSD drive, like an external hard drive, and make sure that you're sending that footage off of that card. I usually keep my footage on the card until I know everything is good, because weird stuff will happen in editing where you'll have that your files get messed up or the program crashes and it didn't save whatever that file was. So sometimes stuff can get corrupt in editing. So that leaves me still with a backup to my backup. It's like a gut-wrenching thing to just like literally lose all your footage. And we have had that happen before, and it sucks. Tip number 5 is one you will not know until you experience it, and at that point it is too late, and that is crossing your audio cables and your power cables. So if you are, let's say, live streaming, or you're using an AC power option or something like that, and let's say you're using a lapel microphone with a really long cable, or even like you're using like the Rode Wireless Ghost like I am right now, either way, it doesn't matter. Whatever your power source is and your audio source, do not cross these cables. What happens is some kind of a weird, too technical for me to explain in this video, but it will make a buzzing or a whining kind of a noise. And you'll hear this with this audio interference because you have power and audio that's starting to mix, and it shouldn't be. So especially if you're in a place, like let's say you have hardwood floors or something, and that very long cable is touching the ground, what I suggest that you do is take a little rubber band, loop that around the cable, and dangle that maybe off the side of the tripod, or use some gaffer's tape or something to tape it so it's not touching the ground. So just know not to cross them, because that's a great way to mess up your audio, and it's a gut-wrenching feeling to have a good take of a piece of a clip, or that video went well and you're like, it's the best video I have ever recorded, and the audio is screwed. Tip number 6, have your examples, your props, or whatever it is you're going to use for an example, already know what that is before you record your videos. A lot of times when people are new to recording content, they'll sit down and essentially have the idea of what they're going to talk about, but they don't have a clue of the examples that should go with like tip 1, 2, 3, and on and on. So they're in the middle of recording live and they're like, well, like let's say you're kind of walking down the street, like that's a bit too much, because you're putting pressure on yourself to come up with a good relevant example in the midst of recording, and that leads to adding fluff because you don't know where the tail end of that example is going to be, or how to bring that back around so that it's to the point. So when I went to set my gray card up, the first time when I was sitting at my camera, I had this already ready to go. So things that I wanted to talk about or things that I wanted to mention, I already had it near me. But there are occasions where you may forget, and that's fine. But the goal here is, the reason why you want these, like if it's an actual spoken example, like I said, the walking down the street example, that's fine. But if it's something that's visual, something that's tangible that you actually want to show, you know you're getting ready to record the video, put that stuff just out of the shot of the camera so your people can't see, but have it ready so you don't have to get up, break that concentration and focus when you're actually recording, because it really only takes a small amount of distraction for you to just stop feeling like it, or psych yourself out, and then the video never makes it to actually hit the publish button. Have you ever watched a video and you're very interested in the topic or the title of the video? It seems like it's going to be on point, but as soon as you click on the video, you notice that there's a lot of noise in the background. It's just a ton of stuff going on, or it sounds like they're in an echo chamber or talking down the hallway. It kind of turns you off. So when it comes to your videos, you have to have great audio, and that's tip number 7. If you don't have good audio, it makes it very distracting, and it introduces what's called audio exhaustion or audible exhaustion. So that means that people want to listen, but would you really want to listen to it just like this? Or would you prefer that the audio sound the way it sounds right now? I thought so. But there is a way that you can fix the audio so that if you do notice like it's kind of like a shh at the bottom and it's just interfering with the audio, there's a way for you to fix that. And I'm going to show you a free tool that you can use to do that. Just click on the video on the screen and I'll walk you step by step.